I need a soldier.
So I'm going to work for one drug dealer killing other drug dealers. That's your idea of a choice.
You know better. You have met them. You know what they are.
Meaning the Salamancas. And you are so very different from them?
Yes, I am different.
Why me?
Because I believe that you understand.
Understand what?
Revenge.
Wow, man, that was the voice of one of the most versatile actors that have ever graced the screen, if you ask me. I've been on this guy's coattail for a long time, Heather B. I mean, from the days of Do the Right Thing, from the days of Waiting to Excel, Malcolm X, Mo Better Blues. I mean, the Godfather of Harlem, the list goes on and on and on. And that was a clip from Better Call Saul. The one and only Giancarlo Esposito is on the line with us, ladies and gentlemen. Hey,
Roll, Sway, roll.
Yo, you hear me roll my R, bro?
I sure did. Perfectamente.
You know, last time you was here, I was having issues. I said, when my brother come back, I got to practice that roll, man. How you been, sir?
I've been doing so well. I'm so happy to be back with you. Such great personalities, bright spirits, and thank you for that amazing introduction.
Oh, absolutely. Every time I was watching, I follow you on social media. I really enjoy your social media. You always have great energy, even when you're talking about your projects. I've never, a lot of times people aren't so happy to talk about or celebrate their projects. I'll ask people all the time, hey, do you ever watch your work when you're at home? And a lot of folks don't. They choose not to do that. I don't understand why, but when I saw you in front of your big screen and you're looking at, School Days and you're like excited to watch it and you even post that thing on your social media or Do the Right Thing or all these different projects, it made me wonder, man, do you get a chance to reflect on your journey and go, oh, shit, I did that?
Well, you just took me on a ride. And, oftentimes I'm so entrenched in what I'm doing right now because I believe in staying in the present. But I believe to look back and feel the blessings and feel the gratitude with which I've been so blessed to make some great choices and be chosen by some great directors to do some great work. It is now an amazing thing to look back and look at School Days. That was a wonderful moment in time for Spike Lee and Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Jackson, all of us in the mix, changing the direction of how film history took its course is a blessing. So I'm in gratitude. So to look back now, early in my career, I didn't watch anything. Yeah. I didn't want to watch anything that I did because I didn't want it to affect my ego and affect who I thought I was through the prism of looking at my success or looking at my I didn't want to be self-aggrandizing. But I realized my dedication and my love is probably an inspiration for folks because that's all I look at. I look at, that particular piece changed the course of history, and I've been blessed to be involved with many more since then that have affected me deeply and affected my journey in the knowledge of who we are as African Americans, who we are as human beings, how we interact. So now I'm a little bit different about looking back. I feel the gratitude and blessing of that.
Absolutely, and the contribution, like when you look at Kenya Barris or Issa Rae, and you look at Insecure, or you look at Blackish or Black as Fuck or Black AF, these new series that are just kind of giving us the whole the black experience in a non-monolithic way. You've seen the dimensions and experiences that we've all had, different from each other sometimes, is movies that you were a big part of, in my opinion, that help open the door to do that. You might not even see it like that. I'm not sure. You're just doing the work.
That's the truth of the matter. I am doing the work, and I do feel like if I'm dedicated to that, people will see all of the subtleties and all of that contribute to the complete whole. And and I feel that with every project I do, it's a contribution. I feel like I'm a channel. I feel like that's what I have to be to do my work honestly.
You mentioned Lawrence Fishburne, who we're big fans of. He's been on the show too. After Lawrence Fishburne came on the show, you came on the show. John Amos, it's a few people that have come on the show that I could retire today and be happy about.
I hear you.
Man, you're channeling, because this morning I've been thinking about Fishburne, who I absolutely adore and think is a phenomenal actor and now phenomenal producer as well. Changed the course of how we see ourselves through the shows that he's done in the last few years. Blackish just took us to a whole nother level about our consciousness. And it is a wonderful blessing to have known him for so long and to have had such a deep friendship with him and a respect for what he does.
How would you describe y'all friendship? Like, well, y'all the homies? Like, after the set, hey, man, what you doing right now? You want to go grab a beer?
Lawrence and I shared an apartment. I went to California on a work search back in the 80s, and Lawrence and I shared a place. He said, I got a place for you to stay. And we shared a place in Los Angeles for a little while down in the warehouse district. So we got to know each other very, very well. And we used to talk about our work and acting and where we were trying to go and how we were trying to get there and the hustle of it. And the position we were in was, at that point in time, we weren't able to be who we really wanted to be. We had to fit into the other mold of always looking for work. And I'm so very happy for Lawrence that he's created his journey. And that's a beautiful thing. As a producer, as a storyteller, he's really moved into a different arena. We were a little bit angry back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had to be angry when you didn't get the opportunity that you felt you were afforded. And you were looking at other actors who were surpassing you because of the color of their skin. And it's just really brought me to a place that I'm able to share with people. Create your own journey. It's completely possible now, and especially today in the time that we're in. If you're not doing something to advance yourself and create really lend your being to your creative essence that starts with you, now's the time, because we're blessed to have some time to be in creation once again. If we're not looking down and looking at the news all the time, the world is in a very particular position, and we have an opportunity as artists to uplift others. And that is one of the main reasons why I love what I do.
We got Giancarlo Esposito. You know him as Gus from Breaking Bad. That we're talking about Better Call Saul. Season 5 finale is aired April 20th. And I'm hearing that it got picked up. It got renewed for a 6th and final season scheduled to air in 2021. Correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay. And I had it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go.
No, this 5th season is one of the best we've ever done. Really exciting moment in time.
Yeah, I watch, man. I watch whatever you do. Like, you're one of those people. If your name is in the title,
credits,
in the credits, then it's like, okay, that's quality. So whatever it is, it's quality. We had Lawrence Fishburne on the show earlier this week, Giancarlo, and we asked him about, man, I'm trying to kill these R's and my tongue getting tired.
I hear it.
He's doing it.
I swear.
Okay, thank you, man. And we actually, it's great that you gave us that story, because we told him you were going to be on the show today, and he got so excited. And I said, if there's any question or anything you want to say to him, what would it be? And this was Lawrence Fishburne wanted us to play back for you. Check this out.
Oh Lord, you know what? The only thing is when you have Giancarlo on the show, just play this for him. G Money, it's Fish Boogie. I love you.
Oh, I love that man. I tell you, I truly do. We have a very spiritual connection, and right back at you, Fishburne. I love you to death. You will always be a partner, a brother, a friend, a leader, a guide, a mentor, and I just love what you do. But thank you for being a friend to Giancarlo Esposito.
Absolutely. Wow. Have you hear how he said his name, right?
I heard Giancarlo Esposito. I'm not even going to try to mimic that, John. But hi, this is Heather. Thank you again for being on the show. I'm sitting here, and I'm so glad that we are able to get quiet, as you say, and tap into our talents. But being able, we can sit. I'm sitting here looking at your credits and them dating back to 1979, where it says that you played in a film called running, and your role was a Puerto Rican teenager, and you fast forward to like 2020. I mean, every single year, God has blessed you with just this tremendous amount of work. And you fast forward to one of my favorites now, which started last year in 2019, to The Godfather of Harlem. And you went from playing this Puerto Rican teenager, it lists as a title, to Godfather of Harlem, Adam Clayton Powell Jr. I don't know if anybody has told you, but for me, growing up in Jersey, really close to New York, I was able to go back and forth to the city and hang out in hip hop culture and know so much about Harlem. Brother, you are absolutely killing that role. Like, it is amazing to watch you in The Godfather of Harlem. I don't know who or what you tapped into, but could you kind of explain to us what was it about that role that you were just able to tap in like that? Because it's incredible to watch you.
Part of my history, my mother worked at Tompers on 125th Street and performed at the Apollo Theater. At a time when Sidney Poitier would be on Broadway and then come up to his chicken joint and then go right in the kitchen and start cooking. And so part of my legacy was to learn about this preacher at Abyssinian Baptist Church, who was not only a preacher and minister, but also such a formidable politician. So I had known about him a bit. And right now, you know, at that time, 125th Street was 125th Street. We were up in the hood in Harlem. And now it's Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. So to me, firstly, to play a historical figure is a challenge, but also a responsibility. And for me, I did research to be able to learn about Powell's achievements and accomplishments and what he did for humanity, not just for African Americans and poor whites, but for Chinese and for Asians. And he was slammed for it. But he was a man who was prolific and a wonderful orator, and he gave incredible speeches, but it came from his heart. And he was fun. See, this is the part that I feel like I took off and went, I have to run with this. A man who enjoyed life, who took himself as seriously as he needed to and used his brain and his political acumen and his ability to be a great lawyer to change the course of our history as well. But he was human. You know, he loved to be in the jazz clubs. He loved African-American culture. He loved women. He loved to drink. He loved to smoke, but he also loved God. And so for me, this is the role of a lifetime.
Wow. That's incredible. Tracy G?
I have stacks of information that I took in, and then I said to myself, okay, now you know all that. 868 bills in Congress that he passed that record has never been surpassed. So I said to myself, okay, you got all that, and he spoke a certain way, and he looked kind of light-skinned, and people, and at one point in his career and history, he passed for almost a whole year in college being white. So he made a choice. Wow. He had a chance to be with the white fraternities and learn what that lifestyle might be like. And he said, no, this is not where I'm going. I know I want to be respected for who I am. And so took all that information and then went, okay, let it all go now and have some fun. And so I have been having a delicious ride in The Godfather of Harlem, and I'm so grateful to be in that piece.
Those scenes between you and Nigel Thatch, who plays Malcolm X, is just it's crazy. It's mind blowing. So thank you for sharing that story. Thank you.
Oh, what a pleasure.
And the good part about this is the series was renewed for a second season. So Godfather of Harlem is coming back to Epix. So congratulations. Go ahead.
We are coming back. It's such an important part of this is that when Chris Brancato, one of the producers, writers, and Paul Eckstein came to me, I said I'd like to be able to have our younger generation know who this man is and what he did. And the icing on the cake is that folks who have watched Godfather of Harlem, they go back and, of course, they know Malcolm X and they know Martin Luther King, but they don't know so much about Powell. They go back and they say, who is this guy? And they go and look up who he is because of my performance. And that, to me, ultimately is a wonderful acknowledgement. I want to guide them back to see who they are and where they came from and who fought for them and who gave them the ability and the right and the courage to stand up and be who they really are in this world that we have today.
Giancarlo See, I'm losing the R, man.
No, you always been taking a step before you say it.
Esposito. Okay.
Take a second. You take a second.
Okay, take a
Sway.
second. Giancarlo Esposito is on the line. There you go. Tracy, hit him.
Hey, Mr. Esposito, this is Tracy. I'm wondering, because you have skills as not only an actor, but directing and producing as well, there's a lot of folks out there who are very multi-layered when it comes to their interests as well. For someone who is equally invested in acting, directing, producing, but kind of doesn't know which one to prioritize, which path would you say they should maybe concentrate on right now? Or can you do both at the same time?
Oh, Tracy, what a great question. Really terrific question. There are a lot of folks out there who want to know how to do it. And I always say my guidance was, and my first passion was acting. But then I quickly realized I wouldn't have the opportunity to show my skill unless I was able to start to understand how to produce and ask myself questions. Ask yourself 10 questions. What is it I want? How do I want to display that? How can I get there? And I would say the first thing is to lead with your strength. Lead with your strength and don't get caught up. And if that strength allows you, for me, I knew I was always a journeyman actor. I knew I always had the ability to trade in, because that was in me. You want a success, you want to succeed, trade in on my acting and just do that and try to be a star, or to follow my heart. My strength was acting, but then I quickly realized to move myself forward in projects that I connect to and that I love. Not ones that come to me and say, I'm going to pay you $1 million. Not ones that come to me and say, hey, you got to do this because for for these reasons. The reason for me has always been passion. And I ask myself the question, what is the story trying to say? Not because they're giving me the starring role. No, what's the whole script? I've been offered stuff with lead roles, but the script, the message isn't there. It doesn't align with my interior and my gut and my message. So lead with your strengths. And then let that put you out there. And then quickly take those strengths and add to them. And then realize that you have the power and ability. You deserve it. And you have the courage to tell your own story, or the stories that ultimately move you and are passionate for you. And for me, that has guided my life and my career. It's really about connecting to that. Now, if you just want to be a star and you just want to be a celebrity, that's something else entirely.
Yes.
You know, but I don't know that would have brought me the fulfillment in my career that it has so deeply and so richly.
Okay, man.
Wow,
this
Seth,
is amazing.
thank
Absolutely powerful. I love having you on the show. There's so many things we could get into, even you playing Moff Gideon in the Mandalorian, which is an 8-episode behind the scenes documentary on the making of the Mandalorian that airs. There's an 8-episode scenes documentary that airs on May the 4th, right? But
That's correct.
This is the first live action series in the Star Wars franchise. There's nothing bigger, you know what I mean, than Star Wars. You know, like if you grew up in the past 4 decades, when you find yourself in these positions, man, do you get pinch yourself moments? And then is it always you walk away with a learnable lesson?
It's both. You know, I have to pinch myself to be involved in Star Wars, especially in this particular live-action series that, to me, resembles the original ideas and exemplifies what George Lucas was really going after. George got close to a guy named Joseph Campbell, who wrote A Hero's Journey and who was involved in mythology. And so the relationship for me in Star Wars, I have to pinch myself because we are all heroes. And in the end, this is a space Western. And the original idea was to allow people to relate to it and empower young people to be able to recapture or to understand their essence and understand that they could do anything. If they had passion, they could achieve what they needed to achieve, and they could become heroes. The saving of our galaxy and our universe in Star Wars is the saving of ourselves. So that connection, to me, I was so excited when Jon Favreau came to me and called me and said, hey, I wrote a role for you in this piece. How do you say no to such an iconic series? The movies are fantastic. They have, in a way, dissipated through time because the expectation commercially has been achieved. So we know which way they're going. But in our live-action series, you don't know which way this is going. And to sacrifice yourself for the greater good of humanity is really one of the greatest things we could ever do, is to be in service. And so for me, this particular series, wow, I'm like, it's in a way a great challenge to recreate this show in this episodic form. But it allows us to connect every week with the idea that we have the power of the Mandalorian inside of us, that we have the power of Baby Yoda inside of us. The journey is in mythology is to strengthen our beliefs in humanity and who we are. And it allows us to speak our truth without fear, to stand up and be original. And so for me, this has been an amazing opportunity and a wonderful part of my journey.
You know, and it also speaks to how important, even off the screen, it is to your professionalism, your workmanship, your work ethic, the relationships you make with people when you work with them. Make sure you're being considerate. You got to carry some humility, because you and John worked together on the Jungle Book as well. Had y'all had a bad experience, he may not have written this role for you.
That's so correct. We did Jungle Book together, and I really enjoyed his brilliance. He is quite genius, and his coming together with David Filoni on Star Wars has just created a powerful package. So John asked me after Jungle Book to do a piece that was a commercial, and we wound up really looking. It was called Destiny. And it was right at the time of the height of the school shooting. So we shot it. And while we were shooting it, it was 2 days' work. And he said, look, come and play with this. And he mentioned Rudyard Kipling, whose history, interestingly enough, he was a great writer, but very racist in many ways. And to me, is that forgivable in his time when he wrote? But he wrote this poem, which was the Mowgli poem, that I thought was incredible. And so I was playing a father speaking to his son about being a warrior and changing his son's life. And John and I were standing off to the side, and John said, wouldn't it be great, if we could redo Jungle Book somehow? And I went, wow, John, that's a great idea, but we did it in a different form, a different fashion. And a year later, John called me. He said, guess what? I said, come on, brother. He was like, yes, I'm doing Jungle Book, and I want you to be in it. So then, here we go. Then you spoke to humility, Sway, and I think that's a wonderful thing, that have that humility. So I'm like, okay, I'm on a ride now, the Jungle Book, and then he was going to do Lion King. And my people said, well, we're kind of talking about Lion King maybe. And I thought, oh, wow, well, John, it's a done deal. This is going to be great, and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't get Lion King. And I went, okay, this will humble you. This is good. This is all right. It's okay. Because I have to trust my friend, and I have to trust this man who knows what his project's about. And there was no place for me in there, maybe. And so I went, oh, bummer. Did I do something wrong? And blah, blah, blah. I said, no. I said to myself, no, let that all go. Yeah. And so Lion King came and went, and then I get a call from John to do this. And I was just like, see, you don't know how life works. And if you let the guidance of the universe, the God and the goddess guide you, you have to become humble. You have to realize that what's for you is for you. And what you're being asked to do, you need to fulfill that promise. But never doubt that the universe has got you. And that, to me, is a wonderful lesson looking back. And never doubt yourself. Yeah. If you've acquitted yourself well, and you've worked with grace and aplomb and been kind and focused on what you do, nothing can ever take away what is supposed to come to you.
Giancarlo Esposito is on the line, man.
Listen,
come on.
Okay.
So many gems right now.
So many gems. He can read the ingredients in cereal, and I'll be like, word. I'm with you.
we got some,
baby. Cheerio.
We got some folks on the line that want to talk with you, man. We're going to go all the way to Charlotte. We got Jay on the line from Charlotte. Good morning, Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Hey, good morning. What's going
What
on?
up, Jay?
Kevin B, Tracy G, Sway, what's going on?
What's happening, bro? You got a question?
I do. Giancarlo, just from all your films, I mean, you have been in some of the classics of all time, but I just want to get your take on one of the films that you did that kind of changed my life in a way, just from looking at films and how films are made, and that was Fresh. One of the best movies that a lot of people hadn't watched it, but, I mean, one of the iconic movies of my time. So just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you know, that role that you played in that, and how that role came about for you.
Esteban,
yes.
It's really, really wonderful. Obviously, you know, Sam Jackson was in the film. Sean Nelson, a young Sean Nelson, who eventually became a director in the film. I love this particular piece because it came through the eyes and the vision of Boaz Yakin, who is an Israeli, a Jewish director who had such a vision of part of his life and childhood. He grew up on the border of Brooklyn, and the Jewish community and the African American community. So it came through a different set of eyes. And I loved his take on this film. This film changed my life because the intensity with which I had to work with Nebuchadnezzar Wright and Sean, who was a young child at that point, was it was very, very an interesting journey to do this movie. I love the chess analogy in the movie. I love the moves that Esteban made to really ply this young man to do what he needed him to do in the drug trade. A very important movie of its time, and this young man outsmarts Esteban. And so for me, this is a film that many people must see, because it's a journey of this young man and his family that takes you to another level. So for me, this particular film, I was so into this movie and so supported Boaz. We hadn't had a film that was basically a film that told the story of African Americans by a white person in this way before. It's real, it's tangible, and a wonderful film.
Hey, Jay, thank you for your question, Jay. And
You're quite welcome, Sway. And I just want to also tell the brother, he's a cool brother as it is, and for him not to ever be in any tabloids or headlines, I mean, it's just a testament to who he is as a person, and big ups to you, brother. I mean, I love everything you've done, man, so just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Jay. You honor me. Thank you for being on this morning.
Oh, that was incredible. Charles is on the line from Georgia. Good morning, Charles.
What's up, Charles?
Good morning, Sway. Good morning, Sway. In the morning,
hey, Charles.
crew.
Hey.
I just want to say how much of a blessing it is to even call you guys, because you're such a big part of my morning every day when I'm out here working. So thank you, because I get in I stay in a positive vibe when I'm listening to y'all expound upon things. I just wanted to say that Mr. Giancarlo Esposito, I met you back in 1990 when I was a freshman after the Navy at Clarion University. Now, Clarion University is about, 90 miles away from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So in order to get there, you have to go through this rural roadway, and it's even farther going to the airport. So the fact that I met you during a dinner and we discussed Do the Right Thing, it is by far one of my most valued memories of Clarion University. And I just wanted to say thank you that you cared enough to hear what the students of the Black Student Union had to say about that film and you in particular. So I was just really, really appreciative of that.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And it's great to hear your voice. I remember being at Clarion, and, for me, part of that giving back and sharing and understanding what our film history does for our reality, our day-to-day reality. And I'm always very, very touched when I hear from people who are thankful that I came to speak my truth and what's going on for me, and to open up the conversation. That was a very difficult time in our history and timing when we were trying to claim again, to reemphasize claiming the courage to be who we are without any embarrassment or regret, and claiming that we need to be recognized. So for me, it's always a big part of my life just to share my journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so people can see, hey, it's a possibility. No matter what you've been through, no matter how you lived your life, there's always a possibility of change. And budding intellectuals, budding poets, budding filmmakers are in our institutions of learning who may not be teaching them what they need to know. So therefore, take that step, and that's why I came to Clarion, and that's why I still do colleges and universities. Take those steps and take the best and leave the rest, and have the flower open. Breathe your breath into that flower that is you. And I'm so happy to hear your voice, and so thankful that you bring me back to those times when I was doing a lot of colleges and universities. As I say, I still do that to be an inspiration, not only to the students, but to hear your voices and be inspired by you, because this is what life is, man. It's a sharing of inspiration, and it ignites a fire that you can never put out.
Well, I just got to tell you that it's real when you say that, because my whole life, I have been on the outside looking in. I've never been like that guy in a clique or anything like that. I've often had to face whatever I said and the consequences, and sometimes I'll end up being alone. So that particular character that you had and do the right thing, I really connected with. Whether I was in the Navy, whether I was in college, whether I'm in my, little fraternal situation, I've always been the one to speak up. But sometimes you find yourself on the outside looking in. But you gave me that confidence, I believe. By me connecting to that part, I'm much appreciative. And I really appreciate all your work. And the brother before me, he kind of stole my thunder, because Fresh is absolutely
that's your joint too.
One of that's my greatest that's one of my greatest films ever.
Hey Charles, Giancarlo is also on social media, so make sure to hit him up there too. You can see him climbing mountains. Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, no problem, man. We're trying to make a phone call. That's what that noise is. But
I'm like, is somebody's doorbell ringing?
Well, Stogie T is Giancarlo from South Africa, is like one of the biggest artists in South Africa, and we're about to make a connection with him. But I just want to say thank you for always accepting our request to come on this show. As you can see, it's rewarding to folks to hear you speak and to be able to discuss your works. And I'm a huge follower of what you do. Take care of your daughters. We talked about our daughters last time you was in the studio. And while you're on this quarantine, man, stay safe. Keep your family safe.
I certainly will. You guys have brought me to tears this morning, man. I just, you've allowed me to see what the blessings that I have in my life. So, I leave you with this feeling of gratitude, man. I'm in tears. Charles got me in tears, and so have all of you. The journey is a long one if we choose to be truthful and honest and look at ourselves for who we really are. And I am grateful that you have positioned the mirror accordingly on me this morning. It's always a pleasure to be with you. But this gratitude that's filling me up right now is the being thankful for you and our universe, and that I've had the opportunity to do what I love the most.
Oh, wow. Thank you, man. I got chills,
now
man.
He got me crying.
You crying too, Heather? We all cry. Let's just tear up. We're going to go into a song. We'll come back with whatever. But, man, thank you, brother. Stay safe.
Wow.
And we're with you in every footstep, okay?
Blessings to you all. Thank you so much.
Man. Love and gratitude.
Okay.
Giancarlo Esposito, man. Jeez, man, we got to take a break. We could just cry on air, man. That was amazing. Yo,
because he just said what he just said about the journey being, long with you, honest and truthful, and then just taking a look at yourself and having somebody properly position the mirror on you. Woo, that's powerful. That's just powerful, man. Like,
yeah.
Let the church say amen.
Amen. Amen. Let's go on the song. We'll come back with something. Sway the Morning, Shade 45.